The realization that he was having an affair hit me like a punch to the stomach. I was already weak, lying in a hospital bed, battling cancer, and now this? My husband of 30 years not only filed for divorce without telling me, but he was also planning a future with someone 20 years younger, and he had the nerve to say I was in the way. I couldn't speak, I couldn't even cry. My heart was heavy with shock and disbelief. The man who once promised to love and protect me in sickness and in health was now abandoning me at the lowest point in my life. Ben stood up, as if he had said all he needed to say, and began walking toward the door. "Wait a minute," I said, my voice barely above a whisper. But he didn't stop, he didn't even turn around, he just waved me off and left the hospital room, leaving behind a cold silence that made the pain in my body feel even sharper. That was the moment something inside me changed. I felt no more sadness, no more begging for love, no more hoping for kindness. Instead, I felt calm, a strange kind of calm, the kind that comes when you finally stop waiting for someone to care, and realize they never will. I wiped away a tear and whispered to myself, he deserves to pay for this. From that moment on, I quietly began planning my revenge. I focused all my energy on healing. The treatment was difficult, painful injections, endless nausea, and long, sleepless nights, but I pushed through, not just for my health, but for something more, for my future, for my dignity, for justice. 2 days after Ben's visit, while still in the hospital, I received confirmation from the family lawyer. The divorce papers had been filed and approved. Ben had listed himself as the rightful owner of the house, despite knowing that I had asked to keep it. I smiled to myself. He had no idea what was coming. Because Ben didn't know that I wasn't just a housewife. While he had ignored me for years, I had slowly and quietly built something powerful in secret. 5 years ago, with help from my father, I had begun investing. It started small, just a few shares here and there, but over time, I learned, I studied the market, I listened to my father's advice, I took smart risks, I stayed patient. And now, I had over $10 million sitting quietly in my investment account. I hadn't told Ben. Why would I? He never cared about my interests, never asked how I spent my time, and never once supported me emotionally or otherwise. I had planned to tell him eventually, maybe on our anniversary, or when we both retired. I had imagined us using the money to travel, to relax in our later years, but all of that was gone now. He left me. And he had no idea that I had become richer than he could ever imagine. Then, a few days later, my phone started ringing. It was Ben. Again and again, I didn't answer, even when I put my phone on silent. He kept calling, so I sent him a short message. "I'm still in the hospital, please don't call me anymore." The calls stopped, but the texts began. "Please just let me talk to you once. I was wrong, I'll apologize properly. Can I come over, please?" He sounded desperate. It was clear that something had changed. Maybe, just maybe, he had found out about the money. I didn't reply for a while, but then I thought, let him come, let him see me, let him understand what he gave up, so I sent him a simple reply. "Do as you like." When Ben walked into my hospital room again, he wasn't arrogant like before. He looked nervous, sweaty, unsettled. He walked over, slammed a bank passbook on the table, and said in a trembling voice, "Why didn't you tell me you had $10 million? I looked at him and calmly said, "You never asked." Ben looked stunned. He sat down and ran his hands through his hair. "If I knew you had this kind of money, I would have never divorced you." I shook my head. "Well, you did, and now it's too late." "It's not fair," he shouted. "You owe me. That money should be split between us. A wife's assets belong to the husband too." I raised my eyebrows. "Really? Is that what you believe? Even after you divorced me without asking, left me while I was sick, and ran off with a younger woman?" He stood up, voice rising. "You should have told me. You kept secrets from me." I stared at him, keeping my voice steady. "I planned to tell you, after I got better. I thought we'd use that money together, but now, we're no longer husband and wife, so that money, it's mine." Ben looked like he was about to explode. "Give me half. Give me something. I need it, please. My girlfriend found out. She said she'll leave me if I don't get it." I laughed. For the first time in a long time, I laughed without feeling pain or guilt. "Let her leave you." Ben's voice cracked. "Please, I'll do anything, just give me some of it, otherwise I'll lose everything." I stood up slowly, holding on to the bed rail. My body was still weak, but my mind was stronger than ever. I looked him in the eye and said, "You already lost everything, Ben, you just didn't know it yet." I pressed the nurse call button. Ben tried to speak again, but I cut him off. "Please leave." The nurse came in, followed by a security guard. Ben tried to argue, but they led him out. His voice echoed down the hallway as he pleaded, "Please, I need you." But I didn't care anymore. I was done. After that day, he tried coming back to the hospital a few more times, but the staff blocked him every time. Eventually, he stopped trying. Later, I heard from a friend that his girlfriend dumped him. No money, no wife, no future. As for me, I finished my cancer treatment. It wasn't easy, but I made it, and when I was finally discharged, I stepped out of that hospital not just as a survivor of illness, but as a survivor of betrayal. Now, I live a peaceful life. I manage my investments, I travel when I feel like it, and I spend time with people who truly care about me. Ben thought he left me broken and alone. But he was wrong. He left me powerful and free. After Ben said what he wanted, he turned to leave. "Wait a minute," I called out softly. But he didn't stop. He didn't even glance back. It was as if I wasn't worth his time anymore. That moment told me everything I needed to know. There was no love left in his heart for me, and the truth of that stung more than the cancer eating away at my body. Still, I managed to say quietly, "I see, understood." Ben walked out of the hospital room with a smirk, almost like he was proud of himself. I lay there, completely drained, but instead of giving in to despair, something inside me hardened. My body was weak, yes, but my spirit was waking up. I knew now that I had to fight, not just for my health, but for my dignity. I wasn't going to let Ben walk away after everything he did, as if I was nothing. I told myself I would get better, I would beat this cancer, and I would make sure Ben regretted every cruel thing he had ever said or done to me. The next 2 days were some of the longest of my life. I couldn't sleep well, my body hurt all over, but my mind kept going back to Ben. Had he really filed the divorce papers, like he said, or was it just another way to hurt me? The not knowing was torture. Still, I kept pushing forward, one breath at a time. But I wasn't completely powerless. I had something Ben didn't know about, a secret that could change everything, something that would make him panic the moment he found out. And just like I expected, my phone started buzzing. Ben was calling me, again and again. I didn't answer. I didn't want to deal with his voice, especially not while I was lying in a hospital bed, still hooked up to 4 drips, but he wouldn't stop, even on silent mode. The phone kept lighting up with his name. So I sent a short text, "I'm in the hospital room, and it's inconvenient to have my phone ringing, please don't call." That stopped the calls, but then the text messages started flooding in. "Please let me talk to you just once. Please, I was wrong about everything, I'll apologize properly." Suddenly, the man who mocked me for being sick was begging to talk. I knew then, he must have found out about the money. "Can I come over there now?" he finally texted. I sighed. I didn't want to see him, I didn't want to hear his voice, but I also knew he wouldn't stop unless I let him in, so I replied, "Do as you like." This was it, my revenge was about to begin. Ben, who had ignored me, belittled me, cheated on me, and thrown me away, was about to get a surprise that would leave him speechless. He burst into my hospital room a short while later, not with concern, but with panic. "Hey, what the hell is this about?" he shouted, waving my bank passbook in his hand like a weapon. His face was pale, his hands were shaking. "I had no idea you had this much money, over $10 million, why didn't you tell me?" I looked at him calmly. "You never asked." Ben stared at me in disbelief. "How could I imagine a housewife like you having so much money? If I'd known, I wouldn't have divorced you." I shrugged. "That's not my problem, you divorced me without asking, you made your choice." But he didn't stop. He kept ranting, trying to twist the blame onto me. "You should have told me, that money should be split, it belongs to both of us." That was when I finally told him the truth. I explained how 5 years ago, with my father's help, I had quietly started investing. It began as a way to pass time and maybe make a little extra, but I kept learning, kept improving, and eventually, I got good at it, really good. Slowly but surely, my money grew, the investments blossomed. My father, who had first suggested it, was amazed at how skilled I'd become. And now, all that effort had turned into a fortune, $10 million. I was going to tell you, I said softly. I wanted to wait until the right time, but then I got sick, and before I could say anything, you left me. Ben was speechless for a second, then his face turned red with rage. You lied to me. That money is mine too. I want it, half of it. No, give me all of it. I deserve it. I shook my head. You don't deserve anything. You walked away. You ended this marriage. Now we're strangers, and strangers don't share bank accounts. But he didn't hear a word I said. I need that money. My girlfriend found out. She said she'll leave me if I don't get it from you. I'll be all alone. You still love me, right? Please help me. That was when it became clear. He didn't care about me. He never had. All this desperation wasn't about losing me. It was about losing the money. I laughed bitterly. You were never this desperate for me, only for the money. That says everything. The more he begged, the colder I felt toward him. The man I once loved was gone. All that was left was a pitiful, greedy stranger. I had hoped, foolishly, that he might regret his actions, that he might feel something for me after everything we'd been through, but now I saw it clearly. There was no love, no kindness, only selfishness. I don't care what happens to you now, I said firmly, please leave. But he kept going. He got louder. His voice echoed in the room. I couldn't stand it anymore. So I pressed the nurse call button. When the nurse came in, I explained the situation. A few minutes later, a security guard arrived and calmly led Ben out of the room. Even then, he shouted, please, I need you, don't do this to me. But I didn't listen. I didn't need to anymore. After that, Ben tried to visit again, but the nurses, bless them, turned him away every time. According to a friend, Ben's girlfriend broke up with him shortly after. No money, no relationship, no place to go. He was completely alone. As for me, I kept fighting. I focused on my recovery with everything I had. The treatments were still painful, but my heart felt lighter. Eventually, I beat the cancer. I walked out of that hospital stronger than I'd ever been. Now, I live peacefully, quiet mornings, no shouting, no guilt. I take care of myself. I use my money wisely, the same way I earned it, patiently, smartly, with love for myself. Ben tried to leave me broken. But I came out powerful and free.